The era of fiat currency dominance is coming to a close. Governments worldwide are churning out trillions in unbacked paper money, printing at a pace that guarantees the collapse of its own value. The loudest warning signal isn't coming from everyday investors. It is coming from global central banks, the exact institutions that manage the global financial system. They are quietly but aggressively dumping United States Treasury bonds. Look at this chart of global central bank reserves. The portion held in gold has now surged past the 50% mark, officially overtaking dollar-denominated assets as the preferred reserve. That institutional panic is trickling straight down to the street level. In countries like China, India, and Turkey, citizens are moving massive amounts of personal wealth into physical precious metals. When the entities that write the rules of money no longer want to hold the world's reserve currency, it signals a systemic collapse in demand for the US dollar. While international demand for the dollar drops, the domestic supply of it is exploding. The United States government is borrowing and spending at a pace that breaks traditional economic models. The U.S. national debt currently sits at $38 trillion, and it climbs higher every second. This chart tracks the national debt as a percentage of the gross domestic product, or the total size of the economy. Once a nation's debt crosses the 100% threshold, it hits a point of no return, leading into hyperinflation. The immediate threat is servicing that massive principal. The interest payments required are going exponential. Based on projections from the Congressional Budget Office, within the next 8 years, these interest payments alone will completely consume the entire U.S. defense budget, along with all other discretionary spending. Without the political will to enact massive spending cuts, lawmakers are left with a single destructive option. They must print trillions more dollars to pay the interest, guaranteeing a steep drop in the currency's purchasing power. The official narrative presents a very different picture. Government statistics currently claim the economy is healthy and expanding, pointing to a 4% growth rate in the gross domestic product. But down on the ground, the reality is a wave of corporate contraction. In January alone, the economy saw 108,000 layoffs, marking the highest rate of job losses for that month since 2009. Amazon recently slashed 16,000 corporate and technology jobs. At the exact same time, logistics giant UPS announced they are cutting 30,000 management and administrative positions across their network. If the headline numbers say the economy is growing by 4%, how are the working and middle classes experiencing a rapid collapse in their job security? To understand this paradox, economist Dr. Mark Thornton points to the Austrian business cycle theory. This framework explains how inflation functions as a direct mechanism to transfer wealth. The cycle begins when central banks artificially suppress interest rates and inject massive amounts of newly printed money into the financial system. This visualizes a K-shaped economy. New money flows directly into advanced technology industries, driving up stock prices and enriching the elites. Meanwhile, the average worker sees no benefit from artificially low interest rates. Instead, they face stagnant wages and long-term price inflation. The system isn't malfunctioning. It is operating precisely as engineered, transferring real wealth to the top tier while silently hollowing out the purchasing power of the working class. If the fiat currency system is mathematically designed to extract your wealth over time, the logical step is to find an exit. For thousands of years, the market has chosen physical gold and silver as real money. They are tangible assets that sit entirely outside the control of any central bank. Their power comes from a core economic principle called inelasticity. Inelasticity simply means that the supply of an asset doesn't easily expand or contract in response to a sudden change in demand. The supply of precious metals is rigidly fixed by geology. When a financial crisis hits, governments cannot type extra gold into existence, and mining companies cannot instantly extract more ore to meet the demand. That extreme scarcity makes precious metals a strict mathematical shield against the infinite printing of fiat currency. While gold acts as the standard baseline defense, an explosive opportunity lies in a highly volatile dark horse, silver. Because the supply of silver is extremely inelastic, any sudden spike in global demand cannot be absorbed by new inventory. Instead, it forces intense, violent price volatility straight upward. Financial analyst Michael Oliver projects that this specific mathematical squeeze could drive silver prices up to $300 or even $500 an ounce by the summer. That projection is the inevitable result of an unstoppable force, the endless, accelerating printing of fiat money colliding with the immovable physical object of a constrained metal supply. The window to exchange a decaying, infinitely printable currency for finite historical wealth is closing. The engineered collapse of the dollar is accelerating.